I digress. The top 5 coaches who brought hope to their programs, and I am fully willing to acknowledge that 2 of the 5 guys on this list may be at different places very soon.
Yes.
But 3 of them I actually don't think so, and one of them is the first one we're going to talk about, Dion Sanders. Look, I know that Colorado's fallen on some hard times this year, but that was always probably going to happen given how good the rest of the conference was. But it is year 1, and he will get it figured out.
Yes.
Could truly because here's the awesome thing about people who have gigantic egos and lots of bravado. They're either absolutely going to deliver or they're absolutely going to fail.
Correct.
And I think Dion is someone who's shown you throughout his career as an athlete and a businessman and a broadcaster that he's not somebody who just lets things go and, lets him just be. Like, oh, this wasn't it. Like, he's going to make it work. And so as much as you may like him or don't like him, he doesn't care. It's all fuel to him.
Correct.
But people are talking about Colorado in a way that they never have and maybe never will after he leaves. But unless he sets it up in a place where Colorado just becomes such a cool place to be, But for that university, for the front door of that university, for people like, oh, I'm going to be where Deion Sanders is. Like, that's an amazing thing. And so he has brought hope to a program that people had completely forgotten about.
He has. I also think the whole move, right? Like we knew Colorado, the Four Corners in general, were going to come to the Big 12. But the main driving factor for Colorado to make that leap of faith and be the first one without hesitation was Deion.
Yeah.
Because he understands the value of being able to go back into the Metroplex and, he's got the roots here. He understands all of that. I think that's going to be important coming back to the Big 12. He could do some great things with that program. He's going to get a lot of great players. My only concern is how and it's going to come over time and learning, but I don't like how he handled the Sean Lewis situation.
No, I bet you he probably doesn't either.
Yeah, but I think things like that
you got to learn.
You've got to get out of your own way and understand. You got to also as a parent, you don't want to see your son get back there and get drilled nonstop. Yeah. But realistically, that's not on Sean Lewis. There's other things around that.
Here's the other thing that will show how good of a coach he is. When you didn't make the quarterback and the safety, or what's Shiloh, defensive back?
Yeah, he's DB safety.
Yeah, DB. So, when you didn't make them, literally
yes.
provide half of their genetic makeup, what's that going to be? Because he's always, at Jackson State and at Colorado, he's had Shedeur, right?
Yes.
So that will be telling because if they had not had Shedeur, this would have been really, really rocky.
Right.
Really rocky. And I'm not, no pun intended with Colorado, but it would have been a lot rockier. And so when you don't, when you don't have especially the quarterback, and no offense to Shiloh, he's actually been probably their
He's gotten better.
Yeah, he's probably their second best defender, not named Travis Hunter.
Yes.
But when you don't have those guys, when you don't have Shedeur, who can be the who's the next quarterback, who's going to, because it's quarterback driven sport, and there's no doubt in my mind he's going to get a good one.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want to go be a quarterback for him? Why wouldn't you want to go play? It would be
the only reason right now is he hasn't gotten any linemen in front, but that portal,
it's about to open up.
Yeah, it's about to open up. Number 4, Matt Rhule. Nebraska hasn't made a bowl since 2016, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 7 years. They're on the cusp of it. Now, look, they've got Maryland that they've got to beat this week to do it, or they've got to beat Wisconsin or Iowa to do it. I would think they can
beat
win
Wisconsin.
Yeah, they can win one of those 3 games, right? They have not beaten Wisconsin all that often, though, since they joined the Big Ten, which is part of the problem, which is why a once proud fan base is reduced to the stress that they have. But look, there is if you really watch Nebraska, this 5-4 Nebraska team, you see things you have not seen in a long time.
Oh yeah,
disciplined and they're still a really dumb team, but that takes a long time. It's not. There's a Stephen King movie named The Lawnmower Man with Pierce Brosnan in it and Jeff Fahey, and it's not good. But the point of it was Pierce Brosnan was the scientist, and the guy who was mowing his lawn was like had a head injury or something and was like challenged, like, all that. And so then he did these experiments on him with virtual reality, and then the Lawnmower Man became this like genius.
Right.
It's not that. You can't you can't do that. And then really scary. Although the movie, not scary. The book, like the story that he wrote, very scary in the way he wrote it. The way it came.
Books are always better.
The way it came across on film.
Right.
Sometimes the movie is better than the book. Like Jurassic Park is it's a really good book. It's a great movie because you need the visuals, right?
Right.
But the book's usually better. But yeah, like it's not going to be that. It's not going to be like all of a sudden, or like Captain America, where he went in this scrawny little kid, and because he was the good guy and the most pure of heart and all that they found, and they gave him the super soldier serum, he was like, they take him out and he's just ripped and running after and kicking people's asses. No, it's not going to be that. Again, trust the process, but I do think that Matt Rhule can make that process go faster than he has at Temple and at Baylor.
I think he already has.
Yeah.
I think that's a clear, if you just look at this season, how everything's progressed, he has done better or had more success and got it. His process has escalated. They
absolutely did not feed him a 2024 schedule that's going to help the process.
No.
They got one of the harder ones, but yeah.
But I think though that he has brought a spark of life to that program where you have generations of former players who probably wouldn't have sent their kids there or, that are going to want to come back and be involved with the program. Yeah, he's definitely done things, and they have the opportunity. I don't know if they'll ever get back to what they were.
I think they can. Because I think they have the want to. Like they'll
maybe.
I mean, they're going to have to. They have an obstacle course unlike anybody else. Right? Yeah. For example, Miami's in the exact same spot as they are, right?
Yeah.
Like the same, they were ones who were clashing over national titles and all that for years and years and years. Miami has that, but their path is a lot clearer.
Yes.
They've got to get past Florida State and Clemson. Like realistically, North Carolina maybe, they have 3 teams as where Nebraska has to get through USC and Michigan and Oregon and Washington and Ohio State and Penn State and Wisconsin. It was with Luke Fickell.
That's coming.
That's coming. That's coming. So there's that. Yes, it's harder, and maybe one day Florida State and Clemson. Who knows? But then they all have the same problem. But yeah, I do think that there is a level that he can hit.
Right.
And one thing he's never really done, I'm curious to see, is he's never really had an elite quarterback.
Or stayed long enough to truly build something.
Yeah. So now he's going to have to at Nebraska.
No, I think he will. I think that's the perfect situation for him to do that.
Yeah, that's the job. I think right now there's only one other job that could get him. And that would be his alma mater at Penn State. And even then,
If you've got the same scenario.
If you've got it's the same. If you've not got Nebraska winning enough to where Penn State wants to hire you, do you even want to do that other than sentimentality? Because Nebraska, I mean, it is it's their lifeblood. Is the football in that state. Number 3, Mike Elko at Duke. This is the first one I will tell you I don't think is at Duke as long as some of the other people on this list.
Correct.
I think Mike Elko will wind up somewhere else because I think there's going to be a great opportunity for him. And if Riley Leonard was healthy this year, all the way through, they might have a totally different outlook. But Riley Leonard could come back.
He should. Honestly, I mean, I don't know where his name has been mentioned. I don't even think he has really been mentioned in the draft.
There are people who have him ranked. He's that feel like Dan Brugler says he's an NFL quarterback, but he doesn't know what his future is, and there's things he's got to get better at.
Drake May, that's exact type of scenario.
Yeah, so I would say Riley Leonard either comes back to Duke, or what Duke will have to fight off is that
the Sam Hartman thing.
Yeah,
gone.
Yeah, where Duke has NIL, but they the NIL is for the guys with the round ball, not the pointy one. And then I'm sure they're getting it for football. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. But if it came down to you, like, hey, get Cooper Flagg here or keep Riley Leonard, most of the Duke money people are going to be like, well, I'll take Cooper Flagg for a year.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes. I mean, that's what they love. That's what they love. But I could see Mike Elko, if A&M is open, being back at A&M. I could see Michigan State for Mike Elko. I could see a lot of places for Mike Elko. I'm telling you, Michigan State, even though they're going to pay a lot of money, I would be nervous about going there because they don't run things well.
Like, if I was a coach, especially like Elko, I would not go there just because of everything around you.
I want another guy to fix it before I go there.
Yes.
Like, that's what I want. I want somebody else to fix it, and then I'll go there. That's what I would want. Number 2, this guy's not going anywhere as long as he's winning. Jeff Brohm is back home. He and his family are the Brohms and the Mannings of Louisville, and what they are doing is absolutely in year one their roster is not chock full of dudes.
Plummer's okay. He's not like an elite quarterback.
He knows the offense because he was with Brohm before. But Jawar Jordan is the only player they have that, like, not the only, but like, he's the dude you're like, well, he can be anywhere.
Yeah.
Anybody would take Jawar Jordan. But they're doing it with just better coaching than they had before. I don't mean to knock Scott Satterfield. That situation became untenable really fast. And
he never had a chance.
No, I don't think he ever did have a chance. I think that when he got there, like, the first question at the press conference, if you'd asked the fan, would have been like, why are you not Jeff Brohm?
Right.
Can you turn into Jeff Brohm? Would you be willing to bring Jeff Brohm here? Can you call him on the phone and have him coach the team over Zoom? Like, would you do that? Like, we want Jeff Brohm. So what did I do wrong? You were not Jeff Brohm. Like, that was the thing. That's what they wanted, and that's what they got, and it's working out. And look, there's a tremendous amount of pressure on Jeff Brohm. Like, even though, like, everybody loves him, that's an equal amount of pressure to, like, keep that going, because we've only wanted you. You're the only guy we ever wanted to coach this program, so you better do well and don't disappoint us, because fans don't have compassionate spirits when it comes down to it.
Not at all.
You win or you go, and that's how it is. No matter how it is, he might have a longer leash than a lot of people, but he's not going to, like, it's not just going to be one of those things where, he can go 4-8 3 years in a row and they're like, oh, we love you. Like, nope. Ask Scott Frost.
I don't think – I think him at Louisville, I don't see a way he goes 4-3. Like, I legitimately think his floor there is probably like 7 wins.
Yeah, I think they'll have years where they lose some good, like, a bunch of good players at once.
Right.
And then maybe it just doesn't – but he'll do well there. And he'll own the area too.
Yes.
Like, he'll get the best the best Louisville kids from Louisville who would go to Louisville, he'll get them to stay there. Yeah. Like, that's it. So, if there's a great high school quarterback that comes out of Louisville, he's probably going to stay home.
Yes.
Like, that's a big deal. Like, if there's big offensive lineman from Louisville doesn't want to leave home, they'll get him. Mm-hmm. Like, those are things that he'll be able to do that maybe others wouldn't. But I did, like, wither the tail of Scott Frost, right?
Right.
You don't want to do that. And I do think that I think Scott Frost will be a good coach again somewhere else. And I think he's an analyst somewhere.
He's an analyst.
And he'll be an offensive coordinator. Like, I don't know, like, hey, Iowa, call Scott Frost to be your offensive coordinator.
He's one of a few options. I got one that I think would be perfect there.
I actually think that there's one here that would be good.
Jeff Grimes would be.
Because that would be something I think Kirk Ferentz could wrap his head around, and I think then they have the linemen to do it. They have the linemen to do it, for sure. But if you want to, kind of roll against Oregon and all that, like, maybe call the guy who used to be the OC there. I'm just saying, Scott Frost.
Got your options.
I would call Scott Frost, and look, he's got a bunch of money coming his way. He doesn't really have to do anything.
Yeah.
But I would think about that. Who else I would call if I were looking for an offensive coordinator and looking to change things up? Florida could call Scott Frost.
Yeah. A&M.
A&M could call Scott Frost.
That ain't gonna happen. We know how that goes.
No, if a new coach would maybe do that.
Yeah.
But I would do that. All right, and number 1, Jedd Fisch at Arizona.
So
My
impressive.
goodness, what he's doing. And he's the one I think might wind up somewhere else because he was at Michigan before, and then he got this job. So, yeah, I think Jedd Fisch might wind up somewhere else, but I do think, again, this is his program. They're about to move in the Big 12. There's no reason for him to leave right now unless a big job opens. And I don't know what big jobs are going to open.
I mean, nothing right now. Like, there's nothing.
Who in the SEC is going to be open next year? For sure.
Mississippi State, maybe Mississippi. But that's not a big job. That's no different than Arizona.
No, and you have a better shot at winning the Big 12 with Noah Fifita coming in next year than you do of going to the SEC and winning with Mississippi State, right?
Yeah.
A&M might be open, but I promise you they're not calling Jedd Fisch. They're not that savvy.
No, not at all.
But yeah.
Yeah, what he's been able to do there has been super impressive. I think also once they get into the Big 12 and you start being able to sell kids from Texas, like, hey, if you come out here, change the scenery, you'll be a great fit. We'll play multiple games in your state. You can go back home. Your family will be able to watch you. Yeah, I think he's got plenty of opportunities there. But just what he's been able to do this year alone has been unreal. To talk about a basketball school that you're starting to make football relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jedd Fisch, number 1 on the list.